Pourquoi pas faire le podcast en français aujourd'hui?
Oh, pourquoi pas?
Oui, oui.
You're becoming the third
Oui,
wheel
oui,
right there.
Pourquoi pas?
Pourquoi pas?
Now that should be in.
I just started recording. We have it.
I know when it's on. Don't worry. I know when it's on.
He sees the little waveform start
Okay,
growing,
yeah,
and he's
sure.
like, "Oh, I better start being funny."
Today we are going to be talking French, English, and what the hell is that picture?
I know, isn't it strange?
So Scott found out he's 2% Viking, so
So
2%
that's just
Scandinavian. So
They took his head and put it on somebody else's,
I like to
kingdom.
think he got dressed up for the occasion, personally. But.
We like to imagine that, don't we? Him sitting for the painting. Yeah, we've mentioned it on the podcast before. But Guy Sensei has just spotted the portrait of Scott Sensei as a Viking, with an Arctic fox draped over his shoulders and a big shield and a big stupid grin on his
Big
face.
stupid grin. I don't know what photo that must. It looks like a selfie photo anyway.
Yeah, it's probably him
like he's
pissed one
saying,
night.
Yeah.
Do you want my Doritos? Would you like tea with this?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So folks, if you haven't noticed, we have a guest with us today. None of this Zoom pish.
Yeah, someone in real life.
Someone in real life here,
Yeah.
live and in person.
Oui.
We have the
Il
awesome.
s'appelle Guy de Brodeur.
Not the brother.
oh,
it's just
no?
the brother.
No,
That's Simon. Yeah, I know. He made the mistake about that. That it was. I never said
Really?
Guy de Brodeur. He just probably somebody went on a joke
Yeah.
and he said, "Okay, it's probably Guy de Brodeur," or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh my God.
Never came out
On that very important
and
historical
somebody
document.
recorded it in their brains and in their brains.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame. Well, anyway, okay, it is Guy, not de Brodeur. And, 7th Dan HDKI from Canada, Quebec, to be
Yes.
specific. And here he is with us now.
From Saint Hyacinthe, for those who listens. Okay.
From St. Where?
Saint Hyacinthe.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Guys, it's a big thing.
that hyacinthe is a flower.
Oh, hyacinth. Oh, I see. Very nice.
There you go. So welcome, and welcome back to Dublin. This is what, your fourth time? Fifth time?
But I think fourth, maybe fifth. I can't recall.
Been here a lot. We like
I think fifth.
we like having you here.
Thank you so
we
much.
like having you.
You're always welcome in the Hombu
Thanks for
Dojo.
being dishonest. That's nice to hear.
No, we're only honest.
Nothing but lies on this podcast, in fairness.
Only honest.
Well, my name is not Guy Brodeur. It's Steve Austin. I'm the $6 million man.
And I'm English.
Here he is. Oh, Sensei. Yeah, we've started. You can come in. Say hi.
Look at this guy bursting into the podcast scene here.
The Viking.
Oh, he's
the
getting
Viking.
shy.
The Viking.
Yeah.
You coming on? You coming on? You jumping in?
You want to?
Jump in.
An official invite
Jump in. Come on.
in letter format.
You want
Write it-
the,
I'll
you
write
want
it
the
in here.
Viking seat?
You text his agent there.
Yeah.
See what she says.
Are you free for a booking, are you?
Yeah, I suppose they were most free for a booking. I thought you said something else then. Oh, you see, you're glad I'm back, aren't you? You're glad I'm
He
back.
sees us on recording as well. He sees it record.
Yeah, we have two special guests now. There they are.
There we go. We've got the one that we talk about the most on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to what you say about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. All with love.
Everything with love.
But have you got any questions for these guys, Ross?
Absolutely. Lots.
Okay, you started off there because I haven't done any preparation for this episode.
No.
Sounds familiar.
That's just the way he is. Isn't
Yeah.
it? It's just the way he is. But I have to say, so like we said just a second ago, Guy Sensei, this is your fourth, maybe fifth time here. Do you feel like you have to to blow our minds every single time that you come here. When you come here, are you nervous? Is there a bit of a tingly in the sack?
No, my sack is always tingling.
When you reach a certain level, it's just
Seriously,
permanent.
no, I just want to give my best every time. It's all. And having fun with you guys is just so much part of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't be paid, actually.
There you go. Get that.
You heard it, yeah. It's recorded. Can say goodbye to that nice little envelope we're going to receive at the end of the weekend. Are you visiting England again this time?
No,
No,
it's
fuck
only,
'em.
it's aren't they listening over there as well?
Three people are listening. That's it.
Okay.
Do you know what? When we had our little comeback on the podcast, we went about 6 months without releasing an episode, and then put out one that had been recorded back in pandemic times, and didn't post about it on Instagram, didn't post about it on Facebook, completely forgot to alert people to the fact we were posting episodes again, and like 100 people listened straight away.
Wow.
Nice voice. Hey, you almost had the Harry Potter's right there.
Do I?
Well,
I thought the scar was on this
for those of you
side.
listening,
Right there.
Oh yeah,
It's on this side.
we're
No,
zooming
it's just
in
a
on Ruth's
puffed out
forehead.
vein.
Oh, right.
I know it is.
It's just stress.
I do have a scar on this side though, don't I?
Okay.
I have a scar in my eye for something. I don't know what.
No, it's there.
Oh, is it that side?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where.
Remember the right hand
That's where you got the squirrel punch.
Rue nearly
I'm sorry.
nearly blinded me and ended my karate career forever.
I'm sorry.
He says we had you over last year again, same time last year.
Just about.
You weren't
no,
here.
6
No,
months ago or so.
it was October.
October. You weren't here.
Oh no, it wasn't.
Why weren't you here?
I was teaching in Sweden, I think.
Oh, that's true.
Then you went to Sweden afterwards. And we were teaching in Sweden the same weekend. But I did Thursday, and you taught Thursday here, didn't you?
What a trip.
Good times. And we asked you then, but we'll ask it for the listeners. With now they're at the back end of COVID and stuff. How did you cope during the pandemic, during the tough times,
rough.
the dark times?
I mean, from the beginning you're talking about?
Yeah, from the whole shebang.
Okay. For karate only, I'd say everything shut down. So I'd say for at least close to 2 months was nothing at all. And I tried actually to start Zoom classes with my kids and stuff like that, which was fairly good. And then spring came, parks open, started to train in parks, and then it saved my brains from going nuts.
Yeah.
Because I don't like doing Zooms that much, like probably a lot of people don't. But it was kind of still a savior for a little while. And people, put a lot of water in their wine so that they can train. And but basically, it's when the sunshine came in and we started training in the park. And that saved me. And then September arrived. Rent another place because the college where I used to rent, they said, no, you're not coming back. The Cégep is closed. It's called the Cégep. It's college. It's closed, so nobody comes in except maybe the students, and even then. So I rented the place from January to September to January, thinking that in the next January of 2021, it's going to reopen again. Mm-hmm. The answer is no.
Nope.
So again, came back on Zoom.
Oh, shite.
Yes. So I didn't even finish the one renting place that I had because the COVID arrived again. The second wave, a third wave, I can't remember exactly. But I had to shut the dojo that I rented for a small time and then put back everything that I owned into a rental place. And then I sold every, piece of equipment that I had, or almost everything. It took a long time though, and when the summer or the spring re-arrived, same thing happened again. Got out. So twice I had to go through the Zoom things and then wait till the spring arrived and go outside again. But it seems like it's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, since January, I'd say. A little bit more in September last year, but I'm going halfway right now that I used to.
Have you got a location now?
Yeah, it's back to the college.
Ah,
And it's a
really?
beautiful place, actually. It's great. So a lot of tatami so I can throw people down and having a great time doing it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Could you imagine? I was just thinking, teaching out in parks in Canada. Could you imagine Scott making us teach in the winter in Canada? You know how we had to teach out in the cold and the rain outside the whole way through the winter?
I would though.
Yeah, I know you would. How cold does it get in Canada in the winter time?
This winter was the harshest winter I've had, not high, but the whole Canadian people had in a long time. I mean, it was super cold for a long time. I mean, like harsh, minus 35, minus...
Is that Celsius?
Celsius, yes.
What?
Of course, yes.
It gets that cold on planet Earth?
Imagine trying to teach the kids.
And snow, and a lot of snow.
He had showed that in that one.
Yeah. It's a hand Snowdan.
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 You could do David make snowmen to like each stage, like
ice sculptures.
Yeah, exactly, and then you have to play Frozen again.
Jeez.
It was a harsh winter.
That's frostbite, yeah? Any naked skin would get frostbite with that in minutes, yeah?
Close to. It's just that it's not only the cold, but the wind that comes from the Great Lakes as well. Yeah. It's humid. It goes through your jacket like nothing. Sometimes it was dry, sometimes it was cold.
I once went skiing in Hunter Mountain, upstate New York, and it was minus 20. And they were like, yeah, cover every bit of skin or you will get frostbite.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
especially in the mountains.
Wonderful holiday.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, and lots of wind.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a harsh winter, like I've never remembered. And I'm not joking with you guys. This was one hell of a big one.
That's why the Quebecois are fucking hard people. Because, like, back in the day when they were clearing that land for agriculture, they had nothing. They had, like, they wore a bear skin or something, and they went out chopping down trees
in shorts.
with their hands. Yeah.
Yes. And sandals.
Bearskin shorts.
And sandals. Playing golf.
In college, I read a book. Like, I was forced to read a really boring book about it. I'm sure it was great if
was it mostly
better.
Pictures?
Huh?
Was it mostly pictures?
No, it was in French. It was a novel about how hard life was when the French were trying to move through Canada, and like the people who had landed there, the planters, were trying to. They called it making land. They had to clear forests and forests and forests, and they were just like hardy people.
Even it's not always the same winter. Trust me. Like 2 years ago and the year before that was kind of a mild winter, but this one was a big one. So you can imagine everybody that was working in construction outside, making houses, working on the roads, making bridges, because we had a big one remade, was just horrible. And the humidity was there too.
Do people still travel to training in that weather?
To what?
To train in that weather. Do they still come training in the winter?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you live in that, so it's like today is Tuesday.
I used to teach a seminar in Estonia, in Tallinn, Estonia, every February in the JKS days. And
Never heard about this.
And well, I don't tell you everything. and one year I went, the last year I went, because they went, this is ridiculous, I'm not going to do this anymore. It was minus 27. And the dojos are fantastic, and they had saunas in the dojos, and straight after the training we'd go into the sauna and have a sauna, and then we'd come out and there'd be a table laid of food, and we'd eat and drink and go back in the sauna and basically spend all night in the dojo. But the last time we went there it was minus 27, and I had long johns, pair of jeans and a pair of salopettes, and I had long john top and a t-shirt and a long sleeve t-shirt and a jumper and a big coat and gloves, and we went to the Tallinn's beautiful, the big bay city, and we went to the other end of the bay, and we were going to wherever, and I wanted to take a photograph of Tallinn from the water, basically across the water to Tallinn. It was a beautiful medieval city. So I got out of the car and literally went 10 meters to the shoreline, took a photograph and came back, and I was there 10 meters back, 10 meters, got back in the car, and I thought I was going to die.
What?
I literally thought the heat was sucked from me.
Jeez.
That I mean, it wasn't that I barely made it back to the car, but I was like, I got back to the car. It was unbelievable how quickly you could get cold.
But our ancestors went out marching and migrating in that weather.
Madness.
Went out hunting seals.
Can I tell you an anthropological story?
Go on.
So, primitive man, like not Neanderthal, but like certainly kind of Iron Age and or not Iron Age, Stone Age man. They've studied skeletons, and they had the same amount of breakage of bones as the modern day rodeo rider.
Oh, a rodeo man.
Rodeo man, yeah. So like they're obviously I've broken this bone 10 times, and on average they would have the same amount every single person. They were tough people. Broke it. Okay, put it back and march on.
That stimulates my imagination big time. Just love how hard they were.
Was it in?
It's like they were all
I read about like Machu Picchu, and they found a skull and it had a metal plate embedded in it from like back in the day. So they were doing brain surgery and shit back then. Like and, like you got a hole in your head. There's a bit of metal. Hammer that in. You're grand. Off you go.
And all kinds of eccentrics for whom the brain surgery didn't go so well. Like we're hearing voices from above.
They catch 5Gs.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Anyway, we should probably talk about some karate.
Everything's karate. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Everything's karate.
Yeah, everything is karate.
So I've been having a crisis.
And you're just the man to sort him out.
Just the man to sort
Yeah, Dr. Brodeur on the case. Here we go.
I'm listening.
See, I'm bipolar when it comes to karate. Like proper bipolar.
He's diagnosed
waves
himself
of like highs and then waves of real lows.
You don't show it in morning training ever. You wouldn't tell at all, would you? You're the epitome of level-headedness.
It's the early morning beer.
Early morning beer would solve it. But right now it's kata and applications of kata.
Okay.
And been doing my studying and research online on the YouTube, looking up, all the stuff, the shuto,
the shuto,
yep, and the tetsu,
and the tetsu, yeah,
yep,
and of course the.
Nah, I don't bother with that one that much.
What was that? I missed that.
It's a wee rack.
Oh, okay.
Wasted time.
I don't think our podcast listeners are aware of the battle between Uraken and Tetsuya that goes on in the dojo. It's a thing. Anyway, you'll catch on. Let's carry on.
I don't even know about it.
But basically, what I don't think in my training, personal training, I have the desire to do kata without now delving into the sort of grassroots of what it's supposed to be, what it is, what are these techniques for. And it's very difficult doing Shotokan to do that because the Shotokan katas are quite far removed from any sort of original sort of purpose-built kata. And I'm just struggling to come to terms with why practice something that is not...
The logic in why doing that long stuff when regularly you
wrecking my head, man.
Standing up.
But then we'll do a lovely bit of kata in the morning and I'll be like, this is great fun. I love it. I love a bit of kata. I love doing not banging it. We done Nijishiho the other day. Doing Nijishiho and I was trying to that Yokogeri up Jodan. Boom, yeah, that's lovely. Useless. More or less in real life, but like not necessarily useless, but useless in terms of why am I practicing kicking up here when the original was Namiash and then punch and stuff. And it's just coming to terms with the fact that how when doing Shotokan can you then dive into the grassroots of it all,
When?
How?
Well,
why? Where?
It's to me you would go through it's like the ABCs of it, and you have to go through the history that's going on right now. You're doing kankudai, for instance, and the long stance and everything. It's the gymnastic of it. It's good for your physique and good for legs. It's like doing a little bit of weightlifting and doing it. And kicking high is a good exercise as well. You're not going to use it maybe, but still, why do we stretch that much? Most people don't, and they might live till 99. But it doesn't matter. We still do it because it feels good. And it feels better if I have to do it lower, and I know that I could kick higher. Anyways, so you still do your kankudai, long stance and everything like that, and then you learn from the long position how to do it, and it's difficult. So when you do it in a shorter distance, shorter calls, and shorter stance, you try to give the same amount of explosion and power that you can do in a microscopic distance, but you learned it from the long one. Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of compare it to when I started to do skiing, and everybody was saying you have to wear long skis because it's difficult in the snow to control, and then you get shorter, and then it's easier afterwards. To me, it's kind of like that now. Or training with weights on your wrist and ankles, and you train with that with a heavy. How do you call that? The vest.
Yeah.
And you train with it, and then you're going to take it out, and then you feel like you weigh 3 pounds. So it's all like that to me, okay? Because I understand exactly what your point is. Because I used to be like some of you guys, a kata champion, okay? And after a while, I just got tired of it, and I said the story yesterday. Actually at the class, and I said I used to do that in competition and pretty good at it, and I just got bored with it. It's just movement. It's just I had to have a purpose of why is this movement exist, and I had so many tormented ideas of who created that. They must have been stoned, or they must have been drinking like crazy, like sake all night. Well, we'll do it this way, and it's going to look like mystic and. Nothing is gonna, look like it's supposed to, and the mystical look about it is, to me, is mind-boggling because it's not useful. There's many other martial arts where it has to be the automatic working thing, like in jiu-jitsu, for instance. If it doesn't create pain, why should you work at it? And in karate, it's the artistic part of it. That sometimes you have to go through the long route to go where you really need to. But it's still good exercise, because if we only do, for instance, self-defense as a training tool, you're getting good at it, but physically you're not developing much.
Yeah.
You're still going to be keeping everything
of these
close. Like
self-defense experts, and well, they look like me, pot-bellied, and
no, but I mean, everything could be done in this same area as a self-defense class, and we can have months of training sitting right here. But we're not going to be doing much physically afterwards. It's just we're going to be all looking like you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Go on.
Well, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree with everything that Guy Sensei has just said.
of course.
What would you add?
What I would add is, well, I think like Guy Sensei was saying, the physicality of kata is really important. It's like, I often use that kind of metaphor of the sprinter practicing with a parachute on his back. It makes it harder. Or when you see a baseball pitcher ready to warm up, he'll have something called a donut on his back, which is a metal ring, to make it heavier. So like that kind of like pushes the physicality of it. So that's a rationale for it. But also, I think, the reason why we do algebra at school, you can say, well, that's nonsense. Why am I having to understand why A plus B equals C? But what it's doing is it's laying down a logical framework of thinking for you to then go out and be able to do accountancy or do your books or just balance a budget when you're in normal day-to-day life. You had to have a logical framework of thinking, and that's what algebra gives you, as well as maths generally. And I think kata bunkai is that. Like one of the big critics, like sometimes I'll put kata bunkai videos on. Like we did that one in Sarasota on the beach and the jite thing. And of course, without doubt, people say that would never work. That's ridiculous. If someone done that, you'd never do that. And I always feel like saying, well, yeah, but I have to do the moves of the kata. I'm severely restricted by what I would do. Of course, if Rug attacked me Kazamazuki, there's no way I'd block with my elbow and then do shooter and then grab his throat. But I have to make the kata work. And so I think the bunkai is a little bit like laying down a logical framework of thinking in your, well, it's not logical, but a tactile framework of thinking within your mind, that you feel something and you do something straight away, and you're trying to find and investigate lots of different ways, and you're being forced to do it in a really restrictive way that is the movement of the kata. So the physicality gives you the stances and the kicks and blah blah blah, gives you the physicality, and the application gives you the tactile kind of response to a chaotic position in lots of different ways. But that is the bunkai. So
I think the big thing that I have, because I don't think that's insulting anyway, but like I spent, when I was spending time in New York with Richard Amos Sensei, he has he has a set application sort of drill, that partner drill, where there's maybe one person with 3 people attacking, and the person in the middle will perform the kata, and the people have set attacks to do that allow the person to perform the kata, and the idea is the drill enhances their performance of the kata. Then I think that when it comes to our grading syllabus and we ask, for application, it tends to have to, again, still, you have your, would you like to just remind everyone of your principles of application?
Well, to be fair, there's I think the main, I first heard them from Richard.
Yeah.
I got them from Richard, so I would hate to say that they were mine.
Okay.
But yeah, that kata application you shouldn't change the kata moves. The attacks should be to target, as in not like a foot away from your head. That the person who is being blocked and hit should react like they've been hit. So you don't just kind of punch someone 3 times in the same spot as if they've just stood there not reacting. And fourth is that by practicing the bunkai, it should enhance the performance of your kata. And the I heard them from Richard first, but they basically kind of fitted into what I was thinking. So I use them specifically from him. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that one of the things I struggle to wrap my head is that the last one, it should enhance the performance of the kata. And I feel like anytime I practice application, I sometimes, again, get bogged down to having to crowbar application into fitting into that box of Shotokan style kata, as opposed to, okay, how many different ways can I use this technique? And how much can I get away with adjusting it to make it work for whatever situation, And I just find it very, what I'm saying is, how do you go about practicing it? Because I find it very difficult to do myself. I feel like I'm trying to explore it myself, and I find it incredibly difficult.
Okay.
And for people listening who maybe feel the same, what advice do you guys have for doing that?
The more you play with that, the better you get at it. And the more, and I was, at the beginning, I have the chance of, before meeting Steve Hubel, doing traditional jiu-jitsu, which is arm locks and leg locks and then finger locks and throat, your strangulation and all the opposite, which defend from. You go and it's a arm lock, you defend from it. So it's always like the lock or the poison, and you have the antidote for it, and it keeps on moving like that, and it never stops. But the more you play with it, the more it becomes like, okay, so I got this solution. Oh, but well, if the guy okay, I got this solution. If the guy goes, there's a solution right there, and there's always a solution from the attacker, and there's always a solution from the person who's being attacked. But you have to have the idea that if you're a good attacker, let's say you're doing that and you're alone, or you're doing it with somebody else. If I was the attacker, I'd have space to put this one inside, or I would go to the throat and, rip this part from you. And you have to think this way, like a mirror, and doing it for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
You have to be as much as a maniac as an attacker. Yeah. As being attacked and being a maniac at defending yourself and being hard, but keeping it in the idea of you're doing, let's say, get on barai. Yeah. And what can you do with it? And we're always used to do open hand. Why? It's just a secure thing for the fingers, but I can do something else with it. Why don't we use more about the Hikite? Hikite is a magical thing, but people think it's a 50-50 thing, like putting it. And the balance is 50-50. It's always equal. It's not the reason why it exists to start with. It's good for regular basic technique, but it has to be more than that. Hikiyashi is the same thing. Hikiyashi is a good thing. When you come back, you got the energy back so you can kick it twice, 3 times and do something else with it. But why does it have to be because you want to re-kick again? Why does the Hikiyashi is not the technique? It should. It's like you're taking a bag and you're opening up and you're opening up on the other side, and then, oh, there's another part of the bag that I've never seen before. And it's always thinking like that. And I've seen that in music, and I've seen that in other parts where why don't I do that and break the rules, and then, oh, wow, there's another part of it that I haven't seen yet. To me, it's like you have a bunch of, to me, when I say you meet a person and you make a black belt out of it, it's like going to the hardware store every week and you buy a new tool. And you learn, oh, that's a hammer, that's a saw, that's a drill. But after, when you're at black belt level, you look at your stuff and you only knew one thing to do with each tool, in case somebody would be a master playing with it, would go, well, I can do that with a hammer. I can twist it around and use it this way. I can take my hammer and take, oh, that's a screwdriver. I can use it for doing this, doing that, change it around and do something else with it.
Yeah.
So every technique that you do is a Swiss knife. But you have to think this way as well as an attacker.
I love the analogies, man. You've always come with some great analogies. You always have a great way of flipping it about. But no, that's very
He does too.
Very good advice. Absolutely. Yeah.
He's a brilliant guy, and you are brilliant as well.
Sure,
It's
we're
just
all
your-
brilliant.
Yeah, right. We're all great.
He's just more intelligent.
I would add.
The only thing I would add is that true creativity comes from restrictions, not from freedom. And so freedom is the death of creativity. It's like, like what shall I watch on TV? Well, you never had that problem when you had 3 channels. You always found something interesting. Now that we've got 100 channels, I can never find anything interesting to watch on TV, right? Yeah. So you want to make sure that you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater and throw out the system because you think it's too restrictive. No, that restrictiveness is what's going to get you good. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we were talking about Sean Smith before, but the Michelin star restaurant that he's part of the business he works for. The chef there, Jordan, who's got 2 Michelin stars, he decided that he would only use food that is sourced in Ireland. So with the exception of sugar, because there's no sugar producers in Ireland, everything that is in that restaurant is sourced in Ireland. So that means there's no citrus fruit, for example. There's no citrus tasting. There's a whole load of spices that he can't use. He can't use kind of chocolate or, things like that. Mm-hmm. It's the best food I've ever had in my life. Because what he's done is he's a complete genius. And what he's done is he said, right, how am I going to get better? I know I'm going to make it more difficult for myself. And through that difficulty, his genius has been as creative as anything I've ever tasted in my life. And he's got 2 Michelin stars. So
that's Hampshire, by the way.
Hampshire, yeah.
For the folks, where is it? Is it in Celbridge?
It's in Clifford Line.
This podcast is not sponsored by Hampshire.
That'd be nice. Yeah. But sure, then we'd have to put out episodes regularly and stuff. If we were sponsored.
So there that we've got the big Sensei. I'm going to put you under the spotlight here a little bit.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to delete this part from the episode.
Here we go. So Ru Sensei is now officially on the road to Sandan. He's thinking about the Sandans coming up. The date is due. He's preparing mentally for
I'm
it.
grimacing, Scott's grimacing, Guy is grimacing, everyone's like...
I would add, what was it like when you way go down, take yourselves way back in the day.
Okay.
Back in the day to when you were going through
dinosaurs.
when you were going through the grades and
Sandan?
and back in as far as Sandan, if you can remember that far back.
I remember. To me, it's like
when you and Jesus were down in the dojo.
It's you need to know this. Yeah, it's simple.
I was thinking, fuck you, Ross, but actually that was 25 years ago. I took my Sandan.
I was 4.
Yeah. So to me, it was just you had the syllabus to do. You do it as best as you could, But my first exam, what I did with Kanazawa, I was already given a shodan by Soroka Sensei in 1982. So he gave me the black belt because he couldn't have the time to give me the exam. But the previous day won the international championship. So he said, don't have time. But it was the 3rd time that I was refused for a test because I was too young. And my seniors said, we don't want him to go over our head because he's too young. I was 16. So it would have been 2 years before, since I was a white belt, 2 years and some months to go for black. And they say, oh, no, we can't do that. He's not 18 years old yet. So when I passed, he gave it to me. But I came with Tsuruka, from Tsuruka to Kanazawa. In 1984, I had to retest. And the only thing I did, I took whatever was needed to be done at the time. And when I arrived, they were all my friends. And I just said to them, you're all my friends, but not today. And I did the test, and Kanazawa gave me my Nidan.
When you were retesting for Shodan?
I was going for Shodan, and he gave me my Nidan that day. And my instructor 3 times said, no, he cannot go over all the other ones. I said, yeah, but I'm giving him no. So I stayed, and the year after I passed Nidan. So but I just went for it. It's like, I love you all, but not today. It's me, myself, and I, and that was it. So you just have to go and be confident in whatever you have to do and do your best. And doing your best means that stay focused on what you really should do, and don't go to thinking of the future. Like so many people are doing things like especially in kata, they're doing their kata and they're doing geranbarai, but they're thinking oizuki. And while they're doing oizuki, they turn their head to do geranbarai, but they're not there yet. So they're not living. No. Every time that you arrive on a spot like that, if I can say, my advice would be it's like you shut every light completely and accept that there's that spotlight on Ru, and nobody sees anything but you, and you take all your time to show how good Ru really is. That's it. Take your time, but when you show it, you do your freaking best.
That's cool. It's cool, man. Spotlight.
That's how I thought.
Anything to add?
Imagine what it must have been like for Kanazawa. Just everybody's worried about politics and going over people's heads, and he's just like, I do whatever the fuck I want. This boy's a Nidan. I'm the boss of karate in the world. I'm a fucking 10th Dan.
But what are you working on just now then? In the grand scheme of your karate, what is it that you're spending most of your time focusing on when you're doing your own training?
Wow, basics.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's the toughest.
Yeah.
It's the toughest thing to master properly. And okay, another thing, it's not losing my physical ability that I used to have.
Yeah.
At my age, you try to keep it as good you used to do it good at 20, at 30, and now I can say I have to do it as good as I was when I was 50. It's weird to say, yeah. But I'm getting, I'm 57. Okay, let's say that. But
Jesus, you're doing like a damn there.
Thank you. It's only radio. So, but it's still, you're thinking, I used to do it so much easier now. It takes me so much time now to warm up to get to that point. And injuries are there. You cannot take them away. It's just you have to prepare your body so much longer than when it used to. You put your gi on and just boom. Now it's like, okay, let's do this and then let's do that, warm up, and then you feel better afterwards. It just takes more time. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
And do you ever give yourself, like right now we're having a good laugh in morning training because Scott Sensei's trying to get his heart rate up to, what is it?
198?
198. And it's like...
I've already got it to 193.
Oh, I am not for 1 minute saying that he's not going to do it fully. He'll do it, and he'll kill us on the way to doing it, I'm sure. Put us in our graves. But that's a fun thing that we're trying to do at the start of every morning training. We're doing we'll come up with an exercise. Okay, this is the one that's going to push us to that sort of 200 beats per minute sort of thing. Do you ever do any sort of stuff like that just to give yourself a laugh, or are you?
It doesn't make me laugh. But I do go to the pool.
to the pool.
Yeah, and I try to do like
Was it senior seconds and Aqua Zimba?
he's going to be demonstrating on you tomorrow.
A big foot in the face tomorrow.
But I do link, and it's I think it's 25 meters one way, and then you have to do that. And some of the last time was like doing it for 2 kilometers when you count it, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I just am super impressed how bad I am. So I finished after the 4 first one, and then I had to stop, and then I look at all the other people, and I know that I do not pace myself. It's just I go, and it goes like, and I come back, and then I go like this,
Yeah.
But I watch all the older folks because I'm not the oldest guy in there, and they're all super smooth, going and gliding in the water, and they're just swimming and turning around and doing it, and I'm just like in the fast paced all the time, and I try to go slower, but I sink.
So in that case, not slower. It's not
That's right. So you have to pace yourself, and I'm actually having trouble doing that and having a good heart rate because I know that it helps a lot. Swimming is. You have to stay afloat.
That's how you play lesson 1 in swimming. Keep your head above water.
Afloat. Yes. And you're looking at, okay, the ground is back. So you do like, you're swimming, but actually you're walking on the ground. Yeah, so that's one thing that I push myself, because if I'm talking about doing, let's say, going with my girlfriend to the mountain, she is so much better than I am. She is fantastic. She goes up the mountain, and I'm looking at her, and I cannot follow her, but my ego can, to a point. And I'm not going to show. And then she said, okay, I'll come back to pick you up, and then we'll go up, and then I'll go and leave you, and then I'll come back down and pick you up, and then we go up again. I mean, she's like that. She's a freaking machine. But I'm trying to get better at it. And the cardio is a base. So if you don't have that, you don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Not far anyways. And there's always a training. Everything is short, so you can be having somebody who doesn't look in shape and do something fantastically quick, and it's over with it. But it's not what I want only to do. You want to be fast in a short distance, but you can do intense work and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
And it's all different. I mean, you've probably met a lot of people who are cyclists or people, runners, and they do jukumite, and they're just drenched after a while because the concentration part is not part of their deal. It's a different stress.
Yeah.
So, I try to combine that. And to me, doing jukumite for 20 minutes, it's okay. That's fine. No problem there. But if it's a different kind of stress, it brings you to another place that you don't know. It's something new to your game. Jiu-jitsu is one of them, by the way. It's super difficult. You got somebody that's your weight or even more, or sometimes you just got a genius over you and just dissect your body while you're doing it.
Yeah.
But it's really hard.
Have you ever seen the video of the person getting awarded a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and they're rolling with their sensei, and the sensei, while they're rolling, unties their belt, throws it away, takes a black belt from one of the students.
Black belt or brown belt now?
Oh, brown belt, sorry, and ties it on them while they're still rolling. And they finish rolling, and they've got a belt on, they're like, oh my God. It's unbelievable.
Pretty cool.
Pretty
Haven't seen that. Yeah.
AJ Sensei's class in the background. But like for you, morning train, I'm always very impressed, because when you leave the dojo on a teaching seminar to Florida, for example, with the morning training has to continue, and I'm amazed because it normally falls to me to open the dojo and be there day in, day out. How'd you do it? Because it's very tough to show up day after day and be there in the morning. It's very impressive.
Well,
you're a bit cracked in the head. a bit of a cycle.
I mean, I think, like, I don't particularly, like you ask you Sensei, what you're working on at the moment, and I don't really take that approach, really. I don't really have anything that I'm specifically working on. Because, like, obviously, morning training is fairly monotonous in our menu. I mean, obviously, we'll tweak it a little bit, but generally speaking, we're doing the same thing, right? And so I just do that. And then by doing that, I find inspiration comes to me. Ideas come to me. I don't have to go looking for them. I'll just do the same thing over and over again, and all of a sudden something will come to me. And so the thing is, I know that if I don't do that, then those ideas won't come, and then I'll have to go away and teach for a weekend, and I'll have nothing to teach. So that the process of morning training is much more about being in the mindset of being able to kind of teach at weekends. And so then I start trying to play tricks on myself in order to motivate me to go training. So, for example, right, bloody Shane can have 198 heartbeats per minute, and we're the same age. We're both 49, and like that's unbelievable. He's got a heart rate of a 22-year-old. I don't care if I've got a heart rate of a 27-year-old. I will beat him, you know. And so I have to play those games with myself to make sure that I get up and do it. So. Yeah. So
you got your training guy that you try to beat, or at least follow.
Well, Shane's an Olympian, an ex-Olympian, who's he's taking a show now this weekend, right?
Yeah, he is.
So he's just a student in the dojo, and he's like as fit as a butcher's dog, and he in that one specific thing is better than me, and we're the same age, so. By God, I'm going to try and beat him on it, you know? Even though, like the average heart rate, I'm getting an average in over a 45-minute training period is 150, and he's like, that's beast level, that's amazing. And my resting heart rate of 42 is lower than his. I don't care. I'm going to beat him at that as well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to probably kill myself doing it. But
it's like Michael Jordan, man. Just making up excuses to fucking go in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I fall out with him all the time. Just so I can beat him up.
Yeah, make up excuses.
Yeah, just getting angry with me for no fucking reason. I fucking bought you tea bags the other day, didn't I? I was the one who arrived in with the tea bags. No one else. Did I get a thank you? No.
Will you give him a pat in the back?
I got called a cunt. Don't touch me.
Tea bags were great. Tea bags were great.
But the question you were asking was mainly for our everyday life or for karate?
Well, karate is life. When you take it seriously enough, Sensei, karate is life.
Is there illicit drugs?
I don't know if you do your name's Q now.
Special bag that Sensei has under here. Oh, no, here's the bong cupboard.
Where is your bong? Okay.
No, I like specifically karate. I think karate-wise, you would say basics.
Okay, yeah, the basics, because it's tough. It's tough to feel that every part of you is there, and you have not given too much energy to produce so much power. It's an easy thing because everything was there at the right timing. We kept talking about timing is everything. It's body timing, the war that you have with yourself to produce the best technique without expending too much energy, but your energy is right there when it's needed, and that's all. Because the less you train, the more tense you get, earlier you get tensed as well, and then you just reduce whatever you're trying to accomplish. So it's relaxation and try to have new ideas as well, because I still feel that there's so much that I don't know.
Yeah.
You want to know what I don't know?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Dang it. that was in for a jam there.
Yeah.
What are you working on?
Flexibility. At long last, I've got a stretching regime. Stretching routine. And it's a fucking, like, I don't know if you do, but I get Instagram ads for bullshit flexibility programs all the time where you have to pay $50 and you'll get access to 50 3-minute videos and you'll be able to do the splits in 2.5 weeks. So I had to fucking dig and dig and dig through as much shite as I could, and I ended up going to the peer-reviewed scientific journals and the proper experiments, controlled experiments that were done on athletes and non-athletes, and how, it's so much detail, like down to how long do you hold a stretch, how much resistance, how long do you rest in between stretching, because that's a thing as well, and how much is too much stretching, which is definitely a thing, and you'll hear all the time, oh, don't stretch too much before training because you'll actually tire your muscles out, and that's true. You should stretch after training, but you do need to stretch for a long fucking time. Quick stretch is nothing. Quick stretch is just limbering up for training. It will not. I could spend 15 minutes stretching at a go now, and that's only a couple of muscles.
Have you ever felt it? You competed, that you arrive into a competition and you stretch a long time because competition is long, and then you're asking your legs to walk, and it just like,
you feel heavy all of a sudden.
And your legs doesn't want to move. They just stay there. You try to kick and it's just like, what? It's not even my body anymore because you stretch too much. It says yes.
Yeah, stretching too much before training is definitely a thing. But when the blood is flowing, then when you're warm after, you should stretch straight away after a session. I went to my...
Sorry, I was just...
Go on.
Like, you should mobilize your body, though. I think all those studies that say, stretching beforehand is not beneficial at all. I think that is specifically geared around sports where your range of movements are within natural range of movements. Like if you think about it like football, for example. I mean, maybe they're going to kick with their foot. The foot goes to waist height, maybe a little bit higher. But it's really, generally speaking, it's explosive, but it's within a general range of motion. Whereas karate, almost everything that we're doing is beyond the normal range of motion.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I am a firm believer that you should at least wake your body up. I mean, I know that's not scientific, but wake your body up to what you're about to do and take it to the extremes of what you're capable of within normal kind of mobility.
Yeah. Just don't hold the stretches very long.
Don't hold the stretches, but also, and don't expect to improve. Don't expect that, I stretch like the 10 minutes before the normal warm-up program. Why am I not getting more flexible? You don't expect to improve, but certainly to prevent injury, to wake your body up, to kind of get into a mode where you can perform well. I would never dream of doing karate without warming up.
Yeah.
And guys, you're going to get older, and it's going to be even truer.
This is the kind of shit I don't want to hear right now.
It's logic. It's like I said, you try to do something and then you're trying to do Jukumite and you just arrive freshly in the dojo and okay, let's start with warming up Jukumite. You can't lift your legs. It's just like, I don't want to injure myself. And then you warm up and then sometimes it's a punch in the face. That's a real one. And it goes... You get adrenaline rush, and then the legs starts to go up. Just right away, you feel like a vampire, and then the wings comes out. And
But I have to say, though, root stretch racing's working, man. I've seen you ping out that wee Yokogarin class.
It actually works pretty quickly,
Also magnesium.
Yeah, magnesium and potassium, actually. All the salts.
Yeah, but magnesium is a muscle relaxant, So taking a lot... Taking a lot of magnesium.
I have to say, though,
for a real good time.
AJ Sensei, who's outside teacher just now, did say he was taking magnesium to help his flexibility and nearly shat himself.
Yeah, you have to be very careful.
Nearly shat himself.
You have to be very...
The muscles were relaxing a little too much.
Like, you have to be really careful, and you don't want to do it for a long time, but if you're going, right, I'm going to do this for a month, I'm going to have an intensive stretching regime for a month, then maybe you can probably go with that. It won't do you any harm.
Oh.
But you might lose friends.
Sure, look.
We've seen you do worse.
Yeah.
So, Ross, what's your favorite kata?
Soul Chin Man. All day, every day.
Chin Man. It's a new one.
Soul Chin Man. I love Soul Chin. Still love Soul Chin. Still my favorite. I
don't like any of them.
You don't like any of them?
Favorite? No, I find them all very difficult.
There's a great story about some guy in the WSKF. I won't say who it is.
WSKF?
Yeah, Kasuyu's group.
Oh, okay.
And he was taking his sixth dan.
Oh, yeah.
And he did Goju Shiho show, let's say. I'm not too sure which catch it was. And so he did it, and then the examiner, who wasn't Kasuyu, another Japanese guy, said to him, "Why did you choose Goju Shiho show?" "Oh, Sensei, I chose it because I really like it." Oh, well, you might like it, but the kata doesn't like you.
You said that?
That's brilliant.
It's like, I like magnesium, but magnesium doesn't like me.
So I like the beer, but the beer doesn't like me. That's for sure. Oh, man.
Yeah, I find them all. I find the only thing I like doing these days is oizuki. I feel like I've
Mastered.
I can do an okay oizuki, maybe a maigeri, but yeah, the rest of the time I'm just pissed off with what I see in the mirror.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's the rule, man. You can never be satisfied. You always have to be pissed off.
Yeah.
That's why you've gotten so good, man.
Oh, fuck off!
Love you, bro.
Where's the violin when you need one?
I was thinking more of a bucket, actually.
That's what, also, that's kind of like you complain about having to go through grading syllabus shit again and again and again. And as an instructor, definitely it's boring. But when I'm with you on a Tuesday evening and there's a bunch of people going for Shodan or something like that in the dojo, I think this is great. Because we're not going to be facing the mirrors, we're going to be facing down the length of the dojo, and it's just going to be yes, 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 all the basics again and again and again. And in my head, I just imagine I'm brilliant, and I'm vaguely aware of the people beside me in the line. I'm like, I'm faster than them, and I ki louder than them, and I'm fucking. I just love those sessions because I get to pretend that I'm the best.
When it comes to grading syllabus sessions, like I love doing it. Like I'll go through every grading syllabus back to back to back, no problem. But having to teach it,
it's boring
it's
as well.
Just, it's just
unstimulating.
It's very
uninspiring.
It's very restrictive. Let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not that I ever teach grading syllabus.
But you have zero impact on who passes and fails grades.
Well, I do. I fail or pass them.
Yeah.
So I have all the impact on who passes and fails. But getting to that point, whether they're capable of passing or failing, no, I have no impact.
So, what kind of kumite you like to work on?
That's a nice question. We went through a Gohon kumite, 6-step kumite, also known as Gohon kumite, 5 long things.
Saying last night. He said, now I tell my students that remember, Gohon kumite, what does Gohon? It means 5, so there's 5 steps. I was like, actually there's 6. And he's like, no, what? I was like, well, you step back in upright, that's 1. And you step forward 5 times, that's 6 steps.
Rolling my eyes.
What does Gohon mean? I was like, well, it actually means 5 long things. It doesn't mean 5 steps. Well, that's not right.
So yeah, 6-step
Wait,
kumite.
Gohon committee means 5 long.
Hon is a counter for long things. So, like, for example, if you had...
Why?
They have different counters. They have different counters.
Okay.
So, like, for example, ippiki means 1 animal.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
Ippiki, nihiki, sambiki, I think I can't remember all of them. Or, for example...
Irish is like that too.
Ippon, nihon, sambon is 1, 2, 3 in long things. Ichimai is a flat thing, so a piece of paper is ichimai, nimai, samai. Person is hitori, futari, samnin. So there's different counters for different things. Like, for example, we have different counters for, like, for example, 1, 2, 3, first, second, third.
In Irish, you have even more. You have completely different sounding numbers for people.
Yeah.
But you guys are scrapping my question.
Yes. What was the question? Oh, what kind of kumite? Yeah, so we did some 6-step sparring.
Gohon kumite.
And Sensei was so disappointed we fucking dropped it after a couple of weeks.
Really?
Remember?
What was that? I wasn't there for the Gohon committee.
No, he was injured, wasn't he?
I was with
You were.
Yeah, I'll bring it back. I go through periods, you know, but...
It's quite scary going stand in front of you doing Gohon committee.
And then we do dojo kumite. We do dojo kumite in the mornings quite regularly, which is really relaxed and fun
Like
and playful. Yeah,
Okay.
but by no means speed and power, and by no means
Continuous.
point scoring. Continuous, exactly. So we do a lot of that, and I really enjoy that. But
Juipon kumite. You were talking about you were doing...
We do
Juipon.
We don't do formal Juipon kumite, but we'll do a lot of single attack and block counters.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
Mainly Gyakusuki or Maigiri.
Yeah,
as a comeback, as a...
Depends. Yeah.
Depends,
But,
yeah.
Depends what we're doing, but yeah.
And now recently, again, we've started doing fucking Shobu in the mornings, which is extremely stressful.
Getting a little bit of the competition prep.
Yeah, because we've got Barcelona.
And we've got 4 young lads as well. That's another big plus.
You do Kyoipo once a while?
No.
Never? Okay.
No, not really. And then I also added a little sprinkling of the sort of little bit heavier contact, gloves, mouth guards, shin guards, and continuous sort of sparring for like rounds, maybe 2 or 3 minute rounds of,
Are you getting ideas for tomorrow? We're going to fight.
Got plenty ideas.
Sensei.
It could be
Take your eye.
Okuriju-pon, Keishi-pon, or places like that, where
We've trained those in classes.
Kyoipo is, you take all the regular ones that I've learned over time with the system of SKI, and you twist them around.
Yeah, of course.
You just take them and you shift them on the other side. And then you do it with people who will, you'd say like the Tori side attack, but he has to have a reaction to whatever punch or a kick that he receives. And then you have to switch your application for that purpose. So that helps when you do application of kata, because you're taking the person who's attacking you, and there's a reaction to whatever punch, kicks, or hit that he's receiving, and then you have to model yourself. To me, it's almost like you're a construction guy, you're a master, and you're arriving in the house, and he's asking me to build this, but the walls are crooked, and I have to have this length and this length, and then he just goes like, and then it's over, it's finished. So you always have to calculate differently from one house to the other, but you still have to, let's say, build a wall or build something inside a wall with, how do you call that, shelves or whatever, and put places where you can hang stuff and whatever. And each house are made different, or each rooms are different, but you still have to do the calculation quickly to make it look good and efficient. But the distance are different from one room to the other. The how tall is the place? How many shelves I can put in to make it efficient? And its distance and its space, and so somebody who's good with his tools and will study that will find that there's no space for a punch. It's an elbow. It's a forearm. It's a shoulder hit. It's all that. To me, it's kind of like that, and you can switch that to any other.
So is that something you practice and you get your guys to practice a lot?
Not enough.
No,
not enough. But it's like a good startup, because you'd start always like Ageuke Gekuski. Then, what can you do more than that? And then it's just a way for, you're only doing, let's say, the same attack, but you have to find something else to do with it. And the reaction of the person in front of you will change, like if you would be fighting like a 6'3" guy or a 5'3" person or a smaller kid, but you have to adjust to whatever the target is moving all the time. And application is like that. If you're doing a little bit of hit, you'll see the body switching in a direction where you cannot use your technique the same way. So it's always an adjustment. Like you're driving a car and you're thinking, I've been driving that route from the house to the dojo 20,000 times. But each day there's a different car coming over, there's a bike coming in, somebody's walking, lights turning. There's no lights. It's raining. Everything is changing, but you're still doing the same route, but you're getting better at it, or you're finding a way to have fun doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Efficiency. That's it.
Efficiency.
Keeping it fresh.
I reckon.
Is it time?
Well, it is.
It is time.
Because I have to cut that big chunk out of the middle where everybody was taking the piss out of me. So yeah, it's time.
It's time
for a big fat fill
of the week.
I don't know if I have one.
Oh, I have one.
Go first.
Jesus. So, it's Tuesday, right? And I'm in David Lloyd's. And the kids are in their teams. And it's winding down to the end of the class. They've just done their kata. I've just given them points for the kata. And it's about time to add up the scores to see who's won. Then all of a sudden, one of the teams in the corners get a bit rowdy and a bit, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, shut it. What's happening? Sensei, there's a spider in the corner.
Oh, God.
Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of spiders. But I thought, oh, brave Sensei time. The parents are arriving to pick up the kids and stuff, so they're all sprinkled in a dojo. And I was like, I walked over to the thing, and I was like, oh, guys, just leave the spiders. I'm thinking it would be like a normal house spider looking thing. This thing came out from under the plug socket, and it was like, like something that a Steve Irwin fucking show. The thing had an ass on it, like Jennifer Lopez, and these legs. And it looked at me and it was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Oh my God!" And the kids are screaming and running and stuff, and I'm about to scream and run. And I was like, "Guys, everyone!" And one of the kids this kid's quite good with animals. Like, I do an animal warm-up where I make them do animal movements to warm up. And I always say, like, okay, this one's like an amphibian. And I'll be like, oh, it's a frog. Or it'll be like, okay, I want you to move like a brown recluse. And they'll be like, oh, that's a spider. I'll do it. So they know their creepy crawlies quite well. And he goes, that looks like a false widow. And Tommy has recently sent the video of this false widow. And I was thinking about it. I was like, it looks exactly like a false fucking widow, actually. And I was like, okay, kids, out the corner. I don't want anyone, like, getting their flesh dissolved by this thing. Everyone get out of the corner, get out of the corner. They're serious, man. And I was like, get out of the corner, get out of the corner. And then, I finish up, they play a game, I'm standing near the corner to keep them away from it, because I'm freaking out that thing's a false widow now. And I'm like, keep the kids away from it. And the thing's coming out and crawling further along the wall, and I'm like, James! Trying to get the kids around about. And then it was like, okay, line up, feet together, bow, socks and shoes on, off you go. But sure enough, the kids start running over to it and throwing shoes at it and trying to batter it with socks. And I'm like, leave it alone, leave it alone. They start hitting it with their socks, and the thing's getting more curled up in a ball. And I'm like, oh, they're just going to kill it. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And then one of them, it was no fear, picks it up by one leg, and the thing's still moving, it's still alive.
Yeah.
I'm like, put it down. And he goes, Sensei. And he starts running straight for me. And I'm like, taking off, running around the dojo, throwing kids in front of them, like throwing kids in front of them. They're worried about the kids getting bit by the spiders. Gone. I'm now just launching every child I can get my hand on towards this kid. And he's saying, Sensei's come for you. I literally shoot all his fucking hand. Boom, so the spider goes down, and I pick him up and I put it, get your shoes on and get out. The parents were on the floor, like crying, laughing, saying, Christ, we thought you were a hardy man there, Ross. Look at the states here. I was like, it was a big fail. I lost all credibility with the parents. The kids probably don't respect me anymore. I see every spider that comes out in that building's getting thrown at me. It was a nightmare.
Secrets out.
Tough day.
That
was a big fail.
Yeah. It's going to be next Halloween. They're going to bring you something for sure.
AJ got me a box where you slide the top of the box open and the spider comes out. and I still have it. And when I first started dating Deirdre, she was having a little snip about the room, and she found the ball, and I was on the laptop or something. I was like, oh, you found the spider box, did you?
Amazing.
You got one?
Well, I think I've got one that is all our failure.
Oh. What did we do?
Well, Tommy's wedding. It's a very short story, but
Tommy got married.
We all allowed ourselves to be outdanced by Karen.
Oh, yeah!
That is a fail. To be fair, John Travolta would have had a top 10.
Yeah.
Teaming up with him, to be fair.
I heard that he broke his own shoes.
He
mad shapes he was
right
throwing.
out his shoes.
Yeah.
Really? Right out his shoes.
It was fucking unbelievable.
What happened?
Yeah.
But I say,
he had just had moves like we wouldn't have expected.
For those of you who don't know, Karen is a member at this dojo, a senior member, and he does the morning training with us. He's one of the guys. And so, Sensei, how would you describe Karen's karate? Just so people understand how much of a surprise this was.
Well, can I describe his karate at the grading?
You can describe his karate in training, then at the grading.
Yeah, and then his dancing.
Well, don't ask me questions like that. He's a good guy. He's a friend.
We love Karen, and he's very good at karate when he wants to be.
Let me say it this way: like when I started yoga, they said to me, find the form and then strip away effort. Well, Karen is the antithesis of that. Well, the epitome of that. He absolutely strips away all effort when doing karate.
Yeah, that's
extremely efficient.
That's a nice way to put it. But so that's a good way of putting it. He is the most
let's just
blasé
say he
in the
never
morning.
breaks a sweat.
He never breaks
Never
a
breaks
sweat.
a sweat.
Although he is quite good at karate.
And he's that guy that after a certain set or exercise that we've done, and we're all, he starts talking straight away.
Yeah.
And it's like,
about fucking anything.
I don't know how you do that. I am sucking in air. And he's going, and another thing, have you ever thought about blah, 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 blah. It's
Oh man, yeah.
And his grading, he did it brilliantly. Like in his kumite, no one touched him, and his kata was great.
Yeah.
And he passed his yondan. He was great.
So he can pull it out when he needs to.
Yeah.
And we see it on the grading, and you see it maybe if somebody catches him a good one in kumite when we're doing it, then he turns it on all of a sudden and he judo throw. I remember one time at Kangeko, I Mai-geried him, like messing about before class. I Mai-geried him, a good one, winded him, and he went down, and I went, oh, I didn't mean to do that, I'm sorry. I gave him a hug. Next thing you know, I was flying through the air and he judo throwed me onto my head. I was like, that was amazing. How did you do that? So he has it in him, but I've never seen him at this wedding have it in him for so long. Like it was
Sweat was pissing down the side of his head. Unbelievable.
And he wasn't drunk.
no.
He doesn't drink a lot. He just
He just
found the spirit.
Yeah.
feeling
His
the
passion.
Yeah. Put us all to shame.
He did.
Definitely.
That's a big fail.
It is a big fail,
That is
yeah.
a big fail.
Yeah.
Jesus. Guy says, did you ever fail?
Oh, many. Too many to mention.
A recent one, though.
A recent one.
Fail of the week.
My finger?
Oh, yeah, tell that story.
Well, that's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
Actually, that it's all stupid things.
Exactly.
Well,
that's
I
what
was
it
giving
is,
a
yeah.
class for elementary school, and there were about 40 kids in front of me, and it was the first of 3 classes in the morning. And so I'm going there, and it's the previous time that I came was a self-defense class. And then I said, today it's not self-defense, it's going to be karate. I'm going to show them chokozuki, hikite, maigiri, and stuff like that, but barely anything. So we went for maigiri, and I just started to, scare them, just punching next to the nose or kicking next to the face and stuff like that. And then I said, you have to kick and bring back your foot as quick as possible, or I'm going to catch it and break it. Like a freaking pirate. Like that. And then they're scared, and I'm listening, and I'm right in front of them and just looking at them and like, come on, kick me, do something like that. And then I catch, that was good. Now it's your turn. And then I look at the girl and I say, it's been a long time since I've hit a girl. You're next. Okay. And she's coming, oh yeah, you have a chance. Do it. Then kick me. And then you have to pull back because I'm going to keep your leg. It's mine. All mine. And I talk like that to them.
Yeah.
And I arrive at the very last part of it. Everything is done. Everything is finished. And I finish with the last tall black girl. And she's about my height. And she's in the 6th grade. And she's so scared that she's looking at me like that, on the side of her eyes, and said, oh, wait, come on, kick. And she kicked, not in my hand, but on the side. And I closed my fingers while she came. And I've heard clack. And then I pulled that back, and I looked at her. Good job. And then I went back afterwards.
Tears coming down.
Almost 2 more classes like that, and pulling on my fingers to make sure that it would be replaced at the right spot. And then came out of the school, grabbed a big bunch of snow with my glove and poured it on my finger and walked to the car, drove like that with my elbow, and then went back after that. That was a stupidity move on myself. And it was a very long, oh yeah. And I had to do 2 more classes after that. That was the first class of the morning.
I wouldn't have done it. I can't handle pain. I have a very low pain threshold.
Really?
I would have gone home. And I said, I'm really sorry, I broke my finger. I'm going home.
So if I do this,
No. I'm a wimp, I'm telling you. I don't belong in this martial arts game at all.
Can I tell you the Alan Campbell story there?
Oh, go on.
Oh,
So
okay.
Alan Campbell,
who is?
he's the chief instructor of the JKS England or Wales, and obviously when I was working in JKS we used to be very close. And this is not disparaging in any way. Actually, in fact, it shows his toughness. But he was once teaching a class, and there was an odd number he paired up for like Keone Pon Committee or something, and he was like there was like, I don't know, say half a dozen in the class, and he had to pair up, and so he's saying, right, okay, you're going to attack and blah 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 block, and he's so. Some girl attacks, or whoever he's, the green belt girl, I think you remember saying, and as he was correcting someone else, he was like, and he'd been doing that kind of, blocking and not really kind of paying much attention, but managing, right? And the Maigeri came and he went to block as he's correcting someone else, and the shin went in between his index finger or middle finger and ring finger, yeah, and it split his hand about 3 centimeters on either side up. And he pulled it back and just grabbed his hand, and he went, and there was some other senior, take over, and like as his hand is split and pissing blood, and he went back to the hospital, took himself to the hospital and got it sewn up at A&E. Can you imagine?
Pain, and then having to, instead of just doing a Tom and Jerry, he managed to keep his composure and tell somebody, hey, take over for a second. Jesus. I would have Tom and Jerry
Like the spider one?
yeah, exactly.
That's even
I feel
worse.
like I have to protect my hands. Just
I don't know what it is. Like, I'm cringing as well, and I'd like.
Well, how many times you've been watching funny, videos, and you see somebody fall down, and you feel the pain that you're seeing on, like falling on the ice, but right there on the tailbone, and you're like,
you have to lift your butt off the seat like,
I don't watch those videos, like compilations of people falling off their skateboards and stuff.
I've seen stuff, like the head banging on the ground. It's just like,
I like when they take the noise of them banging on the ground and put it to the beat of a song. That's hilarious.
Or the guy who slipped on the ice during the winter of 2011.
And they put the music on it? Is that it?
Well, no, this is an Irish thing. There was a man, we had a very, very icy winter one time about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And on the news, they showed a man walking down the street, and he slipped, somersaulted, and fucking walloped his head on the pavement. And it was so funny, man. The cartoonish way his limbs went everywhere as his head struck the ice. And the funniest thing was, this is the national broadcaster, and it wasn't live. They chose to film that and then stick it in the news.
Really?
Because I see the cameras were all creasing themselves as well.
And there's a plaque erected on the spot because it captured the fucking heart of the nation. We all loved it. Was on YouTube and we watched it again and again. So there's a plaque on the wall right where he fell.
What was that?
It's somewhere on the north side.
Oh, really?
I can find out where it is for you.
He's
later,
dead now.
yeah. I think that was the end of him. Yeah.
Well, the song by Phil Collins, Feeling in the Air Tonight, In the Air Tonight. And the ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. And there was something that you had a guy walking on the ice and he never knew that it was ice. And the feet does exactly the same. Da-dang, 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 pow! It's just, and they replay it and da-dang, 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 bum, bum, pow!
Brilliant.
Oh, wow.
I've got to fail. It's completely not karate related though.
Go on.
So you mentioned Tommy's wedding. We have to do a full episode, I'd say, about Tommy's wedding eventually. But
we need to get your take on Florida as well.
And we need to do a Florida episode as well. But at Tommy's wedding, I had the honour of being part of the ceremony. I was playing piano as everybody came in, and then when the bride was walking up the aisle, I played a special little tune, and then during the ceremony I sang a love song or two, and then as the bride and groom were leaving and everybody stood up to give them a big clap, I had been so stressed because I hate playing piano in front of people. Give me the guitar and I'll sing for hours and I'll do whatever. I'll make a complete fool of myself and I'll be everybody's entertainment. But the piano, I'm just not used to it. I've done it a couple of times now, and I find it really stressful. Especially when there's a bride walking up the aisle on the most important day of her life and everybody is completely silent. So I had gotten through everything I needed to get through, and the bride and groom were walking away out the aisle again, and they were newly married, and it was all done, and everybody stood up and clapped and cheered, and I burst into my last song, which was Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King. And I was so pleased that it was all over, and I just had to play this song now, and people aren't really listening, they're only half listening, and I made up the words from start to finish.
Really?
I had completely forgotten the words. I found myself, I started the song and I was like, well, thank fuck, I can just do this song now and it's all over, and I did my job, and then I opened my mouth and I was like, oh shit. Oh shit, what are the words? So I just made it. I just went, I heard a holiday when the head of a rolling wind and I found my mind. And can you feel the love?
Brilliant.
Did you get applause?
Yeah.
And we were all up to him at the end going, oh, you started me.
Especially the last one was perfect.
Because everybody knows the chorus. Can you feel? But in between, I was just like, oh, the man, the middle.
And the new.
You are the lounge singer that Vic and Bob did. You know,
What?
Have you seen Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer?
Oh, no.
You're Shooting Stars. No. Oh, Jesus. There's this comedy, you don't know Vic Reeves. Okay. But he used to do this comedy where it was like, guess the tune. And he'd do it as a lounge singer.
Oh, okay.
And he'd be like in this fat suit and he'd go, now, can you guess what it is? And he'd go, like, you actually
It was
did
exactly that, yeah. I got a couple of lines in there maybe, but...
So this is like cat application. Cat did the same, but you just switched the words and it fit it in there.
See,
and
it is
looked
karate.
It was
like
karate.
Heian Shodan. It is. Everything is karate, and the timing was there.
Oh, I definitely was playing in time, yeah. And I was in tune. I've never sang out of tune in my life. It's just
Right, smashed it the second day. He played for what, 3 hours?
no,
The second day?
I did 2 hours the second day.
2 hours.
Well,
2 hours.
still 2 hours.
2 hours the second day. Had all the old grannies up at their seat giving it a bit. Yeah.
2 hours is 3 hours more than I would have done.
So that's it. We've all the fails done. We've nothing left to say but us to thank you and to
Looking forward to training tomorrow.
Us to you guys.
Scott Sensei.
You're
There he
brilliant.
is now. And a big us to all the people listening. Thanks very much. Deep bows.
Ooh.